Hello YouTube, this is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard, and I'm here to tell you about manifestation. And I'm here to tell you some secrets about yourself that if you can comprehend, you and me both, if we can comprehend what I'm about to tell you, you will never complain about your life ever again. Tall order, but we're going to try and tackle it together because I'm learning this with you. When I learn stuff, I hear about it, I share it with you. So what I'm about to tell you is going to sound really crazy egotistical. But bear in mind, what I'm about to say about myself is also true about you in your own particular way. You're going to have a different manifestation of this same principle. You're going to have a different focus in this reality than I do. But I am a manifestation of a ninth dimensional being who goes by the name Mahadeva. He is in fact Shiva himself. I am a manifestation of that entity known as Shiva. And I am one of infinite numbers of manifestations of Shiva on this three-dimensional plane. You're a manifestation of some other higher level being, some other deity, some other entity. Maybe you're also a manifestation of Shiva. I don't know. But what I'm here to tell you is that your life, as you understand it, is only a probability. It is not a real thing. Your essence is real, your experience is real, your soul is real. Nothing else is real. It's real because we make it real, but it's not real. Now, that's different than an illusion. When people use the word illusion, it has within it all of this negative connotation. Illusion means that somebody is lying to you. The whole idea behind the Matrix movies is that reality is a computer program used to deceive human beings so that their energy can be sucked out of them and used, which of course is a ridiculous concept. The amount of energy that it would take to keep human bodies alive is far more than whatever energy you could pull out of them. So this is the projection of the victim mentality. So when I say that reality isn't real, I didn't say it was an illusion in the sense that it was a deception. It's not a deception. A deception means that somebody wants to take advantage of you and is deceiving you in order to put you in a vulnerable position so that they can steal from you something. That's not what this is. So to understand this more, we need to look at quantum physics. And specifically, I'm talking about light. So this is, you can go look this up. There's been numerous experiments about the nature of light. Is light a particle or is light a wave? And there's a way to set up this whole thing where you put a screen and you blast photons at the screen and you put something there and you see based on how they set it up, you can tell whether or not light is acting like a wave or acting like a particle. And what they found out was that when they blasted the photons at the whatever it is, I don't know what they used. When they blasted the photons on there, it turned out that the light would act according to the preference of the observer. Not so much the expectation as the preference of the observer. So if the observer set up the experiment and wanted to see that the light would hit on one side of the paper as opposed to the other, that would mean that it was a particle. So they're saying, let's see if this is a particle and if it hits that. And the light would do exactly what the observers preferred. When they wanted it to act like a wave, it would act like a wave. But when you look at underneath all of it, what it turns out is that light is, it's a probability. And the result of the experiment is nothing more than a probability that is influenced by the preference of the observer. And in later experiments, they came to the conclusion that not only was light neither a nor a wave, but that when it hit the paper, as they shoot the photons at the paper, that just before the light hit the paper, I don't know how they figured this out, but they came to the conclusion that the light then went back into time once it determined, as it's flying through the air and it determines what the preference of the observer is, it then flew back into time and then created a history of itself so that it would look as though it was exactly what the person was preferring it to be. In other words, if nobody was there, light wouldn't have done anything. It needs somebody there to watch it. Why is light important? Because everything is made of light. Everything. Everything I am, you are, everything is a vibration and a sound. You are a projection of light. And if you can understand that, if you can understand that your life is like that paper, your soul is the photon. The photon is being shot at this, being projected onto this paper. It's going to create a picture, which is your life. And as your soul is shot at this paper, projected onto this paper, what happens is that you have a preference. So I want you to get out of, we'll talk about the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. But just pull yourself out of your life for a minute and just imagine somebody else's life. Okay. Their life is going to manifest on that screen based on the preference of the person that's watching their life happen. See, if I say it's you, then you're going to start going, but wait, my life sucks. And I don't want my life to suck. So what you're saying isn't right about me. So we have to talk about some mythical third person. Because then you're not attached to that. And you go, oh, okay. But your reality, your physical body, everything, absolutely everything that you can imagine, your physical body, your health, where you live, the people in your life. I mean, absolutely everything, all the way down to the clothes that you wear, the coffee cups that you drink out of. Actually, this isn't coffee. It's decaffeinated decaffeinated tea. Actually, caffeine free. Decaffeinated is a whole other thing where they use horrible chemicals to get the caffeine out. Caffeine free. So let me now with that understanding, so that's how we know reality works based on scientific experimentation. I'm doing a horrible job of explaining it, but you get the basics of it, what it means. So we have to then look at dimensions. So according again to science, according to science, quantum physicists, some of them are saying that three-dimensional reality is actually a projection from the sixth dimension through the fifth onto the surface of the fifth dimension. So I want you to think of balls. Start with a little ball that's this big. And that ball is going to be on the surface of a bigger ball. So imagine a little, like a marble on top of a beach ball. Imagine the beach ball on top of, some much larger beach ball. Another beach ball that's 10 times the size of that. We could keep going and going and going, but we'll just go there. So the largest beach ball is the sixth dimension. The beach ball that's resting on top of that is the fifth dimension. And the marble that's on top of the beach ball is the third dimension. So if you can kind of imagine that what's happening is that the giant beach ball is projecting a smaller beach ball, which is projecting a marble. We're living in that marble. Now imagine a tiny microscopic, what are the things people have on their skin? We have these microscopic bugs on our skin. They're so small, you can't see them unless you look at them under a microscope. Imagine one of those on the surface of the marble. That would be the second dimension. So everybody thinks that their reality is the totality of reality, not realizing that it's a projection from a much larger reality behind it. And you are walking around inside of that marble on the top. You're walking around inside of that marble. That is, imagine inside of that marble is the entire known three-dimensional universe. And that is merely a projection on the surface of the fifth dimension coming all the way back from the sixth dimension. Your life is nothing more than a preferred probability. Because when you get down to the quantum level, nothing is fixed. Nothing is fixed. And when you look at things on a quantum level, things are in two places at once. And like light acts like a photon. A photon acts like a particle and a wave at the same time. Only when you step back, you look at it and light acts like something else. And the same is true for you. You, on a moment by moment basis, are re-projecting a probability. I've used this example before, but I'll use it again. So according to physics, again, nothing is fixed. Not even the laws of physics are fixed. So the laws that govern our reality in three-dimensional space-time are not fixed. In fact, anything and everything is possible. Not only is anything and everything possible, but anything and everything must happen. For example, you, the most likely probability, as let's assume you're sitting in a chair watching this, the most likely probability is that you're sitting in the chair now, and if your intention is to stay in the chair and you don't get up and walk away, you will stay in the chair and you'll be in that chair 1 second from now. Let's test it out. 1001. Oh, look at that. You're still in the chair. You think, well, that's reality. Of course I'm still in the chair. It's impossible for me not to be in the chair unless I get up. I mean, I'm sitting in the chair. Except that from a scientific perspective, it's not at all determined that that's what's going to happen. In fact, if, let's say, if anything and everything is possible, it means that in 1 second, there is a very real possibility you could disappear from sitting in this chair and magically appear on the moon. In fact, not only is that what I just said, because I can imagine it, not only is that a possibility, but it will happen. Except for the fact that it would take longer than the entire existence of the universe would stop existing before that possibility would happen. It would happen if the universe were to stay in existence long enough. That possibility would happen. But the probability of it, it is such a small probability that it is very unlikely that it would happen even within the lifetime of the entire universe. Unless you had the power to change your preferred probability state. So the only thing that would change that, the same thing as light. Light is going to act based on the preference of the observer. Your reality, which each nanosecond in 4D, because we live in 3 dimensions plus the 4th dimension, which is time. What happens is, as time goes along forward, we're stuck moving forward in time. Each nanosecond, your preferred observation. Do you see what I'm saying here? This is an observation. You're observing yourself and you have a preference as to what you want to observe yourself being and doing and experiencing. And because of that preference, it keeps manifesting like that. You have this probability state. Remember I said the likelihood of appearing on the moon in a split second is something that will happen, but it is so unlikely it won't happen within the lifetime of this universe. So you have a probability, you have this room of probability that you are likely to experience. And you have a preference within that. You want to get up and go get some water or something. You change that reality. It makes sense to you because you say, well, of course, I have that ability. I can get up and walk around. But do you really? Who says? That's your preferred state. You prefer to live in a body in the 3-dimensional reality where you have the ability to get up and go get something to drink. That's a reality within your preferred probability. All right? So I'm really over-explaining it, so let's back up even further. I told you in the beginning of this video, I am a preferred probability state of the, at the very least, 9th dimensional entity known as Mahadeva, Shiva. Why do I say 9th dimension? Because once you get past the 8th dimension, there's no such thing as a physical body anymore. Once you get past the third / fourth dimension, which is 3D space-time. Once you get into the 5th dimension, you have a physical body, but you have the ability to live in any time you want simultaneously. You have the ability to have infinite numbers of probability states simultaneously. In other words, you can. They use the scientists who talk about it use the example of how many jobs you can have. I don't think people have jobs in the fifth dimension, but you can be a carpenter, you can be a king, you can be a scientist, you can be an artist, you can be a construction worker, you can be every single possible thing you can imagine simultaneously. And you can create new timelines for each one of those preferred probability states for yourself. There are limitations. Each time you go up a level, the limitations drop off, and you end up, instead of being able to be in this universe and having infinite numbers of experiences in infinite places in time, you're limited to certain things, like you can't merge your timelines together. Once you create a timeline, it goes off on its own and it has its own life. You're experiencing it, but you can't then stop that, take that person and bring them over into another timeline and merge those two together. You can't do that. But you can do pretty much everything. A fifth dimensional person will absolutely look like a sorcerer magician. They'll be able to do things that are just absolutely unbelievable for us in three-dimensional space-time. When you go up to the sixth dimension, it branches off even more, and then you can do things like merge your timelines together. You can create two timelines and then decide to merge them together. So you have more options. You become even more amazing. Seventh dimension, eighth dimension. By the time you're getting up to the seventh and eighth dimension, you're now creating entire realities. So you have all those options, but not only in this universe, but in another universe. And then it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. And by the time you get to the ninth dimension, there are no more options left. You've run out of options. That you are everything, everywhere, all the time, in every possible universe. I can't imagine that in my human brain. If you can, my hair is off to you. I can't imagine that. I can barely imagine the fifth dimension. But to be honest, I can't even fathom that. So I'm telling you this because when I say you are a probability, I'm quoting a higher dimensional entity that kept repeating that to me over and over again. In fact, for a whole day, this being, and it's not a voice. When you can interact with higher dimensional beings, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, it might sound strange, but I use the words, they said, but the truth is they don't interact like that. But my human brain has to understand what they're telling me, so it turns it into human, my language. But they're very specific. The quote was, "You are a probability." Kept repeating that. You are a probability. And I kept thinking, you mean a possibility? No, you are a probability. And so I meditated on that for a while. I went and had an experience with a higher dimensional being that I'd become friends with, and I have sought this being out a few different times to commune with and meditate with. And this being finally said, "I'm from the ninth dimension. Oh, and by the way, so are you. In fact, we are the king and queen of the Andromeda Galaxy, and I'm a ninth dimensional being." And they referenced themselves to somebody I knew that passed away, and I said, so you're so-and-so. And they said, actually, so-and-so has reincarnated. I'm so-and-so's bodyguard. I'm a ninth dimensional being. And so afterwards, I had to go research that. I had to go research what the ninth dimension was all about. And then I understood what they meant by I'm so-and-so's bodyguard. They've reincarnated. It means that that soul, which is an offshoot of that ninth dimensional being, one of infinite numbers of offshoots of that ninth dimensional being, a goddess. That goddess has infinite numbers of souls that she experiences in multiple dimensions, but many in the third dimension. And the person that I know as an individual soul is one of their offshoots. And when she said, I am this person's bodyguard, it meant that I am watching this aspect of myself in the third dimension. I'm guarding their life. And so if that doesn't make your brains trickle out your ears, it gets even weirder. You are a preferred probability state. Remember, that's not permanent. In other words, literally everything about you could change. You absolutely could, from one moment to the next, change yourself from your height, your age, your race, your everything. You could manifest yourself differently, instantly, and be a different person. But your essence, the soul essence, what you experience as my soul, is actually a ninth dimensional being's preferred probability state for you. So to give you an example, now I'm not limited by this, because the more you die to yourself, the more energy that you absorb, and the less attached you become to your three-dimensional experience of reality. The more that you become completely individuated within yourself, and your identity is in your soul nature instead of your physical nature. And I say this, and it's challenging, because most people, when they hear that, they go into denial. There's no shortage of people out there who consider themselves spiritual, who think spirituality is denying themselves, denying their feelings, denying their pain. They think, I'm all about love and light. I don't focus on those negative things. And they think they know what I'm talking about when I say, when you are no longer attached to your physical reality, they say, yes, I'm only attached to the spirit. And what's really going on is they're so filled with pain, and they want to escape their pain so badly, they spiritualize their desire to deny their feelings. And that only makes you more attached. So I'm not talking about that. Like Odin dying to himself on the tree of life, he embraced all of his thoughts, all of his feelings, until there was nothing left of them, and he was no longer attached to them. Odin was on the tree of life. I'm also one of Odin's, because Shiva is Odin. I'm also one of Odin's many preferred probability states. But when Odin died on the tree of life, he then saw the runes which were revealed to him, the secrets of the universe, and he screamed as he took them up, which meant he had intense feelings. He felt all of his attachment. And in order to reach beyond his attachment, it caused him so much pain, he screamed in agony. So those of you who experience pain, I don't wish it on you. But you can't deny that. The pain, the uncomfortable feelings are not things you can wish away. You must experience them. That's the only way to be free of them. So, put that aside. That's another video in and of itself. To the extent that you can detach from your reality, to that extent, you get more and more latitude to change your preferred probability state. Now, from your ninth dimensional perspective, your ninth dimensional self, there's no limitations on the probability state they can create. So the reason you feel trapped, the reason why you feel like you are in a matrix, the reason why you feel you are deceived, because your experience is that your reality is thrust upon you. You were born with a physical body, whatever ailments that you have, whatever limitations that you have, whatever emotional limitations, whatever life experience limitations, you can't help but feel as though you are a victim of those things. And those are the things that limit you. And therefore you say, I live in an illusion. And you say, evil archons have told me that I live in this nothing computer created reality, and that is determining my experience, and I want out of that illusion. And you project outside of you that somebody is doing it to you. God, the devil, archons, fill in the blank. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is your ninth dimensional self, which is you. People misunderstand this. You're not separate from your ninth dimensional self. I am not separate from Shiva. I am not separate from Odin. I am one of his preferred probability states. And as a preferred probability state of a deity, you can become a deity yourself. But you have to understand that your ninth dimensional self has said, I want to understand consciousness in this particular probability state. First, the soul comes out, you come out of that ninth dimensional being as a soul. And you think, I'm a soul, I'm an individual in this universe, I'm all by myself, I'm my own thing. And you think that you're separate from everything, which is by design. Your ninth dimensional self wants to know what consciousness does in certain circumstances. Based on a combination of your interactions, your preferences, your choices, and the desired understanding of your ninth dimensional self, this will create the specific soul and the specific life that is you. So in my case, Odin, Shiva, wanted to know what is the experience of consciousness in 3 dimensions if I put it in a California-born surfer, white Anglo-Saxon, heterosexual male who lives in this particular limitation, all of that. Of course, I have a part in that because I've made choices in previous incarnations which have also had a large part in determining my preferred probability state. But Odin and Shiva are watching and experiencing and going, that's what happens when consciousness runs into, Oh, look at that. Oh, that's what consciousness does. Now, that's their preferred probability state for that experiment. But as the experiment, I'm not without free will. I have the ability, if I choose to, I have the ability to completely change the experiment whenever I choose. But I have to be able to muster the energy within me to change my preferred probability state. I have things that I can do. I can decide to diet or not. I can decide to shave my head or not. I can decide to do certain things and not deviate from the basics of the experiment. But I have the ability to completely, if I wanted to become Oprah Winfrey, I could do it. If I had the desire to do so. If the desire within me was so strong that it overcame my probability state, I could choose to become whatever. And Shiva and Odin would have to go along with it. Shiva would have to go, wow, look at that. Oh, check that out. Look at what he's doing. Oh, that's so awesome. Look at that. He would get off on it because that's the whole point. He wants to experience consciousness expanding beyond its probability state. But in order for that to happen, you have to have the desire. And by desire, I don't mean the desire to escape, because that's not a desire. To explain that, let me talk about acting. I was an actor for years. I was an acting teacher. I made movies, theater, blah, 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 all that. And a good actor, like if you watch an actor, think of an actor you really like. Here's what you're going to find. You respect every character they play. Whether they're playing the bad guy or the good guy, you respect and you enjoy watching them because you respect them. You respect them because no matter what they're doing, whether they're doing something bad or doing something good, they clearly have a positive expectation. They're doing it because you can see that it's something they truly want. And again, whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's Hannibal Lecter, it's impossible not to watch him and just not respect him and go, wow. Even though the character is a horrible narcissistic psychopath. He's an awful, horrific human being. But Anthony Hopkins never brings any judgment into what he's doing. Whatever he's doing, it is the best thing that person has ever done, and you can't help but clap and say, oh, wow, I want to be Hannibal Lecter. You can't help it. Because he makes what's called a positive choice. A positive choice means that his character really loves what he's going after, and he doesn't judge himself. Now, a bad actor, if they were going to play Hannibal Lecter, a bad actor would judge the character and go, oh, Hannibal Lecter is a narcissistic psychopath. He just wants to hurt people. And he would play that, and you would go, it's boring. He's horrible. That's a horrible actor. Because you know you don't believe him. Because he doesn't believe it. So when I say, if you have enough desire to change, it comes from a positive place. It comes from a joy within you. You want to lose weight. Let's say you just don't like your body and you want to lose weight. Hating yourself because of the way you look will never result in you losing weight. Not in any healthy way or any consistent way. But somebody who's able to lose weight and get the body they want and keep it does it because they love that idea. And that love of that idea is a desire. And that desire is what gives them the fuel to make the choices Number one, believe that it's possible, make the choices and take the actions which change their preferred probability state. You have two people born with the same preferred probability state. They're both born alcoholic, right? They're both destined to become addicted to alcohol and end up on the street and drink themselves to death. And one of them gets sober. One of them gets sober and then becomes successful and is very healthy and lives to be 100 years old. The other one dies at age 40 of cirrhosis of the liver, homeless. What's the difference? They both have the same preferred probability state. Their ninth dimensional self said, what happens to consciousness if I put it in the body of an alcoholic? One of them had the desire, the strong enough desire to change their probability state. And here's what many people do not understand, is that when you take your desire, because sometimes your desire is not enough. Your desire isn't strong enough to go beyond your preferred probability state. When you merge your desire and you reach out to your ninth dimensional self and you say, I want the tools to bring this desire into manifestation. If that desire is in line with an expanded awareness of consciousness, your ninth dimensional self must obey you like you are God. You have a desire to become the most prolific musician in the world. And that desire doesn't come from ego, it comes from the joy of music. You bump into it, you want to master, Vivaldi, but you just don't have the ability. You can listen to it and appreciate it, and it fills you with such love for music. You want to take Vivaldi and expand it, but you don't have the skills. Your preferred probability state, you're missing a finger, so you can't you can't do all the stuff. I'm not a musician, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But your desire is so strong, you reach out, let's say to Freya, or Saraswati, the goddess of learning and music. Who would you be, if you are so inclined to music, you are most likely a preferred probability state. Saraswati, who loves music, says, what happens if I put musical desire into three-dimensional reality, but I put these limitations on her? She either sticks with it and says, I don't have the ability, I can't do it. Or she says, my desire is so strong and I love music so much, I'm going to worship Saraswati. Please give me the ability. I'm reaching out to you. I want more than my own physical life. I want to master music more than I want anything else, and I am sacrificing and chanting and praying to you. The ninth dimensional self of that person, Saraswati, she must then give that person the tools, the ability, the energy and then that person is willing to do whatever it takes. They will travel anywhere in the world. They will study with any musical master. They will do things backwards. They will do whatever it is they have to do to accomplish what they want. And they will go beyond their preferred probability state and become the most prolific, the most amazing musician that the world has ever seen. It's the desire combined with the spiritual power. And there is nothing in the universe that can stop you, not even the gods themselves. And this is really what the gods secretly want. What they want more than anything is to put themselves into a limited situation, and they want to learn how to go beyond their limitations. They want to use their ability of consciousness to go beyond their limitations. And by doing that, they become stronger. They become bigger. They become more powerful. Odin, again, perfect example. Odin is on the tree of life, sacrificing himself to himself. He's dying to himself on the tree of life, it's Kundalini. He wants the runes, the mysteries of the universe, more than he wants his own life. And he's willing to do anything, even hang upside down on a tree. And because he's willing to do whatever it takes, the runes appear to him. And then he still has to reach out for them. He has to go beyond his limitations. And screaming, as he's hanging upside down on that tree, screaming, he reaches out. And his screaming, reaching for the runes transforms him. He goes beyond his limited probability state, and he becomes the most powerful god in the heavens. He becomes the king of the gods. He becomes the All-Father. And before that, he wasn't. And I'm thinking about this because this has been my life. My preferred probability state was extremely debilitating. I'm not going to get into it because you have your own issues. I'm not comparing myself to anybody. But I grew up with two siblings. I had a brother and a sister. And the preferred probability state that came as a result of living in that family killed both of them, as well as my parents. They both died. All four of them died from the limitations of that. They were incapable of going beyond their preferred probability state. And I was talking with some people, some friends not too long ago, and this subject came up of somebody that we knew who had, been working and toiling, doing, wanting to grow for decades, and then they ended up pretty much just destroying their life. And many of us were wondering, how is that possible? And when we thought about it, we go, that person never really made any progress. We would talk to this person, we would give them options, we would tell them our experience and what to do, and this person just couldn't follow through and take the action. Just couldn't do it. We got into a conversation about it, and I was saying, well, of course they didn't do it, they didn't make it. They never took action on anything. I've watched this person for 25 years, and they haven't done anything. They haven't taken any action. They haven't done any of the work. It doesn't surprise me at all. Another person said, I disagree. I have compassion for so-and-so. So-and-so is a victim of circumstance. They just very unconscious and just didn't have it within them. And we need to have compassion for that person. Now, what happened is when that person, destroyed their life, they hurt many people. Like really hurt a lot of people very badly. And this person was saying, well, we can't blame them for that. They couldn't help it. They were unconscious. They didn't have the ability, they didn't have the consciousness to do anything different. And I said, I can't accept that. Everybody at every moment in their life has the ability to make different choices and to do different actions. Everybody in every moment has that. I know because I lived it. I remember being 17 years old, and I was trying to cold turkey myself off of drug addiction. And I locked myself into my bedroom, second story house that my parents had. My bedroom was on the second story. And I locked myself in there. And I was determined that I was going to detox and kick my addiction. And at one point, things got so bad that I had in my head, I had this vision of myself going head first out through the window onto the street below. And it wasn't like, oh, I want to go hurt myself. It was a physical compulsion. It was almost uncontrollable. The vision in my head of me doing that was, I mean, I know why people do that kind of stuff. And I said to myself, as I looked at the clock, we used to have clocks back then. As I looked at the clock, I said, I'm going to go 10 seconds and I'm not going to jump out the window. And I watched the hand go 10, 9, 8, da, da. And I got through 10 seconds, which was more than I could tolerate. And I said, I went through 10 seconds. I'm going to do another 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And I did that. I don't even know how long I did that. I did that for however long I needed to. And then it went from 10 seconds to, I'm going to go a half an hour and I'm not going to jump out the window. And then it went from, I'm not going to, half an hour. Then it went from, I'm going to go an hour and I'm not going to jump out the window. And here's the result. And when I was, the numerous times in my life when I've been broke, this far away from living on the street, and unwilling to do things that were harmful to me, like go work at Walmart, just to spend my life toiling away, I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to do what I want, even if it kills me. I'm only going to make money doing things that make me happy, even if that means I end up dying on the street. I refuse to live in a way that damages my spirit and my soul. I won't do it. And then I became aware that the only thing that matters in my life is following what gives me joy. You think I teach this stuff about follow your joy and it'll give you happiness because everything's always gone my way? No. I was willing to die before I lived a way that I couldn't tolerate. And it's not that I wanted to die. I wasn't suicidal. It was that I wanted to live and be happy more than I wanted to just survive and be miserable. And so I know what it's like to take actions that are impossible, that seem impossible. And I take one action at a time, even when I want to die. Because when you do that, when you go after what your soul wants, your human person, the part of you that's attached to the probability state, to the narrative, to other people's love and approval, that part of you, every time you take an action that goes contrary to that, that part of you that is rooted in the more dense 3D aspect, that part of you dies. Like Odin. Odin sacrificed himself on the tree of life for his own enlightenment. Unlike Jesus, who sacrificed himself for other people, which is the most destructive thing you can do for somebody. Because then they don't earn it for themselves and they don't appreciate it. Odin was totally selfish. He said, I'm going to sacrifice myself for my enlightenment. I'm not here to sacrifice myself for anybody else's enlightenment. I'm here for my own. So that leads me into something else On the 21st and the 22nd, God's willing and the creek don't rise, I am going to be doing a live stream both of those days for probably an hour or two, where we're going to be doing some energy work, some meditations, maybe some CE5 if you want. But the goal of that is to bring the Ascension event. I am unwilling, on a selfish level, I am unwilling to live in this corrupt universe. I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not going to deny. I'm not going to exit the matrix and go somewhere else. I'm going to use my power of manifestation, connected with my own desire for my own enlightenment and happiness. And I'm going to make the decision that I am going to do this and change my world. I'm no longer going to live in this corrupt, screwed up, narrative-driven, nonsensical, idiotic world anymore. I'm just not going to do it. So, since I'm not suicidal, my only other option is to use my power of manifestation to change it. And so I invite you to be a part of that with me. If you have that feeling, you're waiting for the event to come. You're waiting for the solar flash to hit. You're waiting for however you see this ascension event. You're waiting for it to happen to you. And that's not how it works. People talk about this event, and bear in mind, it hasn't happened yet, so I'm not talking from experience. But people talk about this event and they say some people will stay and some people will go. I don't like that. I don't like the idea of excluding anybody. In my mind, I'm bringing everybody with me. You want to come with me? I'll meditate for you too. I don't care. I'll meditate for everybody. I got enough meditation in me to meditate for as many people that want to come. But some people think that some people are going to get left behind because they can't choose. It always comes down to that. They can't choose the light. They choose the darkness. And it sounds like my friend who says these people just don't have the ability. They're unconscious. We should give them a pass. We shouldn't judge them for destroying their lives and harming others. They couldn't help it. They were unconscious. I can't tolerate that within myself. I'm not going to co-sign that for anybody else either. So if you are sitting there saying, I can't take this anymore. I can't live in this world anymore. I need that 5D love and light. I want to be in the freedom of light and happiness and joy and peace and creativity and spirituality. I want that. And if you want that, more than you want your attachment to your job, your home, your career, all the stuff that's associated with this reality. The approval of your parents, the approval of your loved ones, the approval of your religion, your church, your society. If you want to live in 5D, you talk about it and you want to live in that more than you want to live where you are now, then it's time to make the choice that you're going to change it. And you're going to have to take some action. And the action is going to be whatever it is for you, whatever spiritual practice it is for you. And, 3 months ago I did my first CE5. The human initiated contact with extraterrestrials, which, by the way, I've found out they're not extraterrestrials, they're higher dimensional beings. The ones that come here, the extraterrestrials that come to Earth, They may be from other planets, but they're not from 3D. They are from a higher dimension. And when you interact with beings from a higher dimension, you can't help but die to your three-dimensional self. You can't help it. There's no way to experience that energy and not lose that. And I won't lie to you, it's challenging. It's painful. It's blissful and wonderful and beautiful and all those other things. But, you know, the things that are attaching you to the 3D that, and let me give you another example of people who talk about wanting to move to 5D, but with their words and their actions, they create 3D. I'm choosing not to, when I run into this, I'm just choosing not to argue with those people or get upset at them. Or, you know, I might block them, delete the comments just so that I don't have to see it. But, you know, the Queen of England, as you know, passed away not too long ago. And I myself experienced the light beings. They were partying. And I was curious as to what that was all about. They were partying over some other things, but part of it was that they were partying over not the death of an individual, because that person, and she was a person, she wasn't some reptilian. She was a human being. I didn't know the woman. I don't know what her faults were. I don't know anything about that. I think the monarchy is ridiculous. At the very least, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's possibly connected to deeper tendrils of, elite superstructure of the world. Yeah, and that's run by people. People who are trapped in the third dimension. Here, let me tell you something about the elites. The evil dark force elites. They honestly believe they are saving you. They honestly, if you were to hook them up to a lie detector test, and if you were to ask the majority of them, they would say, I'm creating a better world for everybody. But in order to do that, I have to lock people up inside their homes and take over all of their finances, and I have to, create the metaverse. I have to do that for them because they're too stupid. They're too limited. They're too frail. They're too, they come up with all these narcissistic judgments on you. They honestly think that they're helping you. And if you could just stop rebelling and let us control you, the world would be a better place. We'll get rid of all of the, they'll get rid of all the pollution and all of that. They want to control your reproductive ability. Just give us control over everything and we'll give you a perfect life. They believe they're doing the right thing. They're narcissists and psychopaths and they're full of fear, but they're human. And every single person who writes, I'm glad the Queen is dead, she was an evil, demonic person. If there's going to be people left behind, you will be one of them. If you cannot see every single person on this planet, no matter how evil, if you cannot see yourself in them, you are trapped in 3D. When the Queen died, my first thought was, I hope that she has a pleasant journey. I'm grateful that she's released from the bonds of being trapped in that horrible system, of having to be this elite queen who can't have a real life, who has to pretend to be something that she's not, who can't have her own desires. I can't imagine a more horrible existence. I have nothing but compassion for her. I hope now that she's freed, she can experience herself as a beautiful being of light, because that is what she is. And so it pains me, it hurts me deeply when I read comments where people talk about her in such horrible ways, because I'm not perfect either. Maybe I haven't had the life experience to be pushed into that place. I wasn't born into the elite, so I don't know what that's like. I can't judge them. I'm not perfect. So if you're not able and willing to drop that, then you get to stay here no matter how much you say you want 5D. Because every single one of us is made of pure light. Every single one of us is divine. Every single one of us deserves to be free, deserves to be enlightened, deserves to be awakened. And I'm not comparing myself to anybody else. The only difference between me and that person I talked about who, after 25 years just didn't make it and caused a lot of damage to a lot of people, the only difference between me and that person is that I took action on my desires. I was willing to die in order to get my desires. If I wasn't, at 17, I locked myself into my bedroom. I was willing to die before I went back out and got a fix. If that's what it took. I want to be happy more than I want that. And so you can allow your preferred probability state to control what happens to you. You can allow yourself to be an experiment of your higher self. Or you can make your higher self grow in consciousness by going beyond your probability state, which is only determined on the choices that you make. You choose something different and then you take action, and you're willing to die to take that action and make it real. Just like Odin. Odin was willing to die. Odin wanted the runes more than he wanted his own life. He wanted the runes more than he wanted his self. He even said, I sacrificed myself to myself. I'm willing to die to myself to experience myself. It is the ultimate in individuation, which is the point of all of it. So, on the 21st and the 22nd, we're going to have live streams, and that's where I'm coming from. Just to let you know, I'm done. I'm done with this boring, meaningless, corrupt state that the world is in. I'm done with watching people being hurt. I'm done with watching the earth be destroyed. I'm done. And so if it kills me, I'm gonna use my powers of meditation and manifestation for my own happiness. Some people make it, some people don't. Not my problem. We can't wait around anymore for anybody. I believe that everybody will have an option to come along. That's my own personal belief. But I don't care. I'm not willing to sacrifice my sanity or my happiness anymore. Because if this world doesn't change, we will destroy it. Or nature will have to destroy us. It's the only option left. And so in the crucible of this, we can achieve incredible enlightenment. We as a species have an opportunity to move beyond our preferred limited probability state. But only if we make the choice. Waiting around for Jesus to come again, nothing's going to happen. We have to do it ourselves. All right. That's it for, I'm going to get off my soapbox. This is a question and answer. If you have a question, write the word question in all caps. Just the word question and write your question. And I'm happy to look at your feelings. Anything else, you run the risk of me psychoanalyzing you, and nobody wants that. All right, let's take a look here. Paradise Unlimited says hello. Thundra Gucharan says hello. She is one of my Vedic astrologers and has her own website, thundra.thunderwizard.com. And Vincent.thunderwizard.com, same thing, one of my astrologers, and you can see all the stuff he does right there. Go check him out, Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Nella Nelly question, will the Kundalini awaken doing the lightning Qigong? Yes, the thunderwizard.com, you go up here to thunderwizard.com, scroll around until you see Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. I am the only person in the history of the world. That wasn't my intention. I just one day realized, hey, I'm the only person in history that's ever done this. I'm the only person in the world that has combined the three spiritual energies that are usually done by themselves. So there's Qigong, energy work, where you tap directly into the life force energy all around you in the air. With the breath and with movement, you bring life force energy into your body. You release life force energy from the organs. This is Qigong. I teach that. Then there's Kundalini. Kundalini is not the same as life force energy, even though many people conflate it. Many people, I'm not saying names. I want to. One of the most, if not the most popular YouTube internet guru, when talking about Kundalini, said Kundalini is the life force energy of the universe, and that's absolutely not true. Chi, prana, is the life force energy of the universe. Kundalini is the consciousness of the universe. Two different energies. One is in all of the cells of the body, the chi. Kundalini is in the nervous system, the spinal column, works with the chakras, can move throughout the whole body, but it starts in the chakras. The chakras are not the same as the energy meridians, the chi energy meridians. The chakras are different. It's a different energy system. And it's about psychological awareness. Only human beings have Kundalini on planet Earth. Animals don't have Kundalini. And then there's a third energy which almost nobody knows about, has been kept secret for at least 2,000 years, and that is the Shin energy, the heart-mind energy that surrounds the soul. It is usually untapped. It is self-contained. It is the energy that surrounds the heart center, literally keeps the soul, the multidimensional part of you. It is the energy that keeps your soul from being destroyed by the harshness of three-dimensional reality. It is called the Emperor's Bodyguard, which means it's the energy that guards the soul. When you are able to find out the secret meridians that you can move and manipulate, which will open up that energy and actually turn it outwards so it goes out through all of the energy meridians of the body, then you become a 5D warrior. And now you enter the realm of the Maoshan sorcerers. There are people who've been doing, I've given you the free stuff, the 3 ones meditation. That will open that up as well. I've given you that for free. Somebody messaged me and said, I did that, and then explained all of these chronic physical things that were immediately healed. So I said, is this normal? And I said, yeah. That's what happens when you release the Shin, the heart energy. It's the most powerful energy in the body, which is why this technology has been kept secret for 2,000 years, because People, back when, energy meant you keeping alive, you didn't want the village down the road to know your secrets because they'd come after you. So you kept this to yourself so you could have power and stay alive. But now we live in a world where everybody needs this. So I have been chosen by the light beings to share this for the first time publicly in this large way. When you subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong, you get me teaching you exercises. You don't have to know anything. You just hit play and you do the routine. You follow me in the video. You will release Qi, Kundalini, and Shin energy all at the same time. And you will have powerful emotional releases. You will die to your attachments. You will become aware of the desire and the bliss of your soul, and you will be given power to take action on it. So yes, will Kundalini awaken doing the lightning Qigong? Short answer to that question is yes. Vincent.thunderwizard.com, honest feeling, I really hate doing my coda work. He means Codependence Anonymous. Journaling about my childhood and bringing up things that happened in the past. I'm doing it nonetheless, but I don't like feeling my feelings. Laugh out loud. Congratulations. I admire you and honor you for doing that work. Thank you for doing that, because just by you doing that, you have allowed me, even though I'm not consciously aware that you're doing that, when you do that, I go up a level in consciousness. And so does everybody else. This is the thing. When Odin's, unlike Jesus, when Jesus supposedly died on the cross for other people's sins, all he did was co-sign their victim mentality and told them, you don't have to awaken yourself. I'll do it for you, you fucking moron. Just worship me and God will love you. Don't let me forgive your sins for you. Fucking humans. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They can't help themselves. That's Jesus. Odin said, I am going to achieve my own enlightenment through my own self-sacrifice. And by doing so, every other being in the universe will be empowered to do that same thing for themselves. That's what you did for me, Vincent, by doing that work. Thank you. Paradise Unlimited, honest feeling, laughter, my hair is off to you. When you say it, I just have to laugh. Well, that's the idea. Let's see, that's not a question. Somebody thinks that September 24th is going to be when we have the solar flash. Yeah, so you're like me. I had never heard of it. I got to be honest. If I had seen the solar flash stuff, and there are people out there, there's some people out there, and they're talking about the solar flash. And if I had seen them, I would have gone, "Oh my God, what a bunch of New Age nonsense!" I wouldn't have paid. I'm glad I didn't know about it, but. I had that dream not too long ago where, something was going to happen in the sky where the world was going to think that Jesus was coming, and they'd find out very quickly that it was something else. I didn't know anything other than that. I was excited about whatever this event was. It looked like an ascension event, a worldwide global ascension event that would get everybody's attention. And I thought it was going to be fleets of aliens. I didn't know what it was. I didn't care. Whatever the heck it was, my light friends came to me one day as I was thinking about it, and they said, "Don't be afraid, we're coming for you first." I went, "What? What do you mean you're coming? What does that mean? I wasn't afraid, and now I am. What does that mean?" I said, "Does that mean there's going to be fleets of spaceships landing?" And they said, "No. There's going to be a solar wave that's going to hit the earth, and it's going to be filled with love, and people will ascend." And I went, because I hear that and there's stuff that I think they're telling me, and I go, that just sounds like I made that up. That sounds like, some science. I said, oh, okay. And I thought to myself, I think I just made that up. And I shared it with it on a live stream, and somebody said, no, that's a thing. And I went, what? Yeah, they call it the solar flash. And it was exactly what they said. And so now I'm excited about it. But I'm grateful that I didn't hear about it, because if I did, I never would have taken it seriously. I mean, and let's be real. It's kind of hard to believe, right? It's a little challenging to believe, but what have we got to lose? I mean, if why not? I mean, if it's offered to us, let's do it. Let's make it happen. So somebody thinks it's going to be September 24th. Well, that would work out pretty good, because I'm planning to spend September 21st and September 22nd. I'm going to put everything I have in it to make it happen. Last time I did that without realizing it, some things happened politically overnight that were impossible the day before. And I went, holy crap, what the hell did I just do? And we did it. You guys were meditating with me. Agent of the universe, honest feeling, I'm waiting for this event to happen to me so I can be healed of my suffering and pain. I understand your feeling, but we're not going to wait. That's where you're making, you could do more. It's not about waiting to make it happen. But let me help you understand, because it's okay that you want to be healed of your suffering and your pain. I understand that feeling 100%. What is even more powerful is when you want to help others be free of their pain. So if you want your meditation to be 1 billion times stronger and have more influence, instead of just thinking about having your pain go away, think about taking the pain away of the whole world. Not so much you're going to do it for them, but that they will want to be released of their own pain. Because again, it's a choice. Suffering is a choice. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it is. If you're suffering, it's because you choose to. And I know it sounds like I'm victim blaming, but you can either choose to focus on the negative and be upset and angry and hurt and resentful, or you can choose, even in the depths of the most intense pain and hopelessness, you can choose to believe that you can be happy, even if you know you're not going to be. I sat there looking at that clock going, I'm going to go 10 seconds. I'm not going to jump out the window. Not because there was anything in me that was anything other than just absolute, utter, horrific misery. In fact, I look back on it, I don't even know how I survived that. But what was in me was I was determined. I'm going to find a way to be happy. And right now, I'm going to go 10 seconds and I'm not going to destroy myself. There was another point years later when life was really tough and I was taking continuous action, continuing to take action towards my happiness, and I was miserable. And in my misery, I said, you know what? Maybe this is as good as it gets. And if that's the case, I'm going to make it work. And I'm going to still go after everything that I want, even if this is the best I get. And I was still focused on being happy. I've never been willing to allow my pain and my misery to destroy my life. The times that I've been physically ill, I guess you guys know, just 3 months ago, I was so stressed out. I was so frightened. I was so shocked and traumatized by my CE5 attempt that worked. You've got it on video. You can see me. You can literally hear me whining and crying like a little girl. You can hear. I was so afraid. My understanding of reality shattered when I was in the physical presence of a 5D being. It just totally fucking everything, all the sparks came out of my ears. I was scared out of my mind. And that the stress of having to change my understanding of reality was so fucking intense. I gave myself frozen shoulder. Now, I didn't know such a thing existed. My right shoulder, the nerve to the delt completely just disconnected, and I literally couldn't lift my arm. I would have to go like this to lift my arm. I couldn't do it. If I wanted to put underarm deodorant, I had to put my arm up on the wall like that and then go like this, because I couldn't lift my arm that high. And I knew that it was psychosomatic. I knew that my brain had done it to my body. It was a real physical injury, but my brain had done it. And so I did what I've learned how to do, which is I went deep into the emotions. And I felt all the fear and all of the pain and all of the sadness, because there was a ton of sadness, because I was going to, in order to follow this understanding that there were higher dimensional beings that wanted to interact with me, I had to die to my safe scientific understanding of the universe. I had to die to all that. And it was incredibly painful. And I spent, there were times, you guys remember, I couldn't even come on the channel. I said, I need time away, because I was weeping all day, or, frightened or something like that. And I stayed with those feelings because I knew that was the only way that my body was going to heal. And after 2 or 3 weeks, I was functional again. I wasn't 100%, but I was functional. I'm like, wow, this is taking a long time, because normally I can fix muscular spasms, sometimes within hours. Like normally they keep you in bed for 2 weeks. I can fix them in hours. I just go to the conflict in my emotions and I feel it and I resolve it and my body heals itself. This was happening a lot more slowly until, what's going on here? What just happened here? My screen is telling me that I'm no longer. What's going on? All right. I don't know how much. Anyway, I cured myself of something that normally lasts 2 to 3 years. I cured myself of it in 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm glad I didn't know that it normally lasts for 2 to 3 years, because if I had known that, I might not have known that I could have cured myself. So the point being, again, we can do anything we want. We can do anything we choose. We have to choose it, and we have to believe it, and we have to focus on the positive intentions, the things that bring you the joy. That's the key. Otherwise, you're operating from a negative, and a negative never works. So, Agent of the Universe, I understand what you're talking about, but stop waiting. Join me. 21st and 22nd. I'm gonna put everything I have into it. I don't have any control over the results, but I'm gonna put everything I have into it. And so instead of waiting around, why don't you meditate with me online, and you can bring it about instead of waiting for it. And instead of just wanting to heal yourself, think about everybody else. Think about all the other people on this planet that are suffering. Think about them. Send your love to them. That in and of itself will heal you of your pain. If you do that when you meditate, there's a lot more chance you'll get what you want. Casey Jones wishes me happy birthday. Thank you. Tomorrow is my birthday. Did I say that? I'm going to be 59 years old. And I feel great. I still surf. I still go to the gym. I'm enjoying my life. What else? But I'm going to be even younger. Once we get this thing going, because my light being friends have said, you can be whatever age you want. If you decide to be 35, you'll be 35. So I'm going to make myself even younger. Yeah, Agent of the Universe, I really want you to drop the negative. So drop the negative. You say, because the elite have which should be mine. I need you to drop that. Please drop that. Nobody has anything the assumption is that there are people, that there's only so much stuff and some people have it and they can steal it from you. And it's just not true. So I understand that you feel that way, and I know a little bit about your situation. You tend to have dualist thinking, and I know that's hard for you to get out of that, but I really encourage you to drop the victim mentality. Everything is available to everybody. And what you don't realize about the elite is that they are trapped. They are miserable. They have nothing. You think they have everything, but that's just an illusion. They want you to think that. Why do you think they keep going after more? Bill Gates, holy crap, the guy has now owns more land in the US than any other, anybody else. All the farmland, he's buying it all up. Why? I mean, how many billions of dollars does he need? Nobody acts like that who isn't miserable. He is absolutely miserable. So, Agent of the Universe, for me, do me a favor, please drop that. It doesn't serve you. I understand the feeling, but you're wrong. Your assumption is wrong. Soul Freeman, honest feeling. I am very grateful and thankful to you, Mahadeva, for your teachings. Distance healing helped me recover from colitis. Wow. I have done Summon the Immortals for 12 months now. I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you for sharing that. He goes on to say, I can afford the 90-day challenge and I'm feeling strong, happy, and looking forward to the future. I'm grateful being part of this community. Now, what Soul Freeman hasn't said is that when I give those distance healings, I also give a meditation practice, a very in-depth meditation practice that the person has to do. So really, who healed who? In other words, you did something too, and you know that because you went through it. But thank you for sharing that experience. Paradise Unlimited, honest thanks. You explaining the different energies of lightning Qigong has inspired me to shift my butt into gear, especially explaining Shin energy. You're welcome. Agent of the Universe, happy birthday. Thank you. Kim B, happy early birthday. Thank you. Shudoshi, what stone is that? Looks amazing. Shudoshi, welcome to the channel. If you have a question, you'll see up above people write the word question in all caps. This is simply a, what is that? It's the stone for the planet Saturn, which is, what is that? It's just that purple amethyst. It's just an amethyst. That's all. And I got this pendant, just this empty pendant on Etsy, and then I bought this cheap, and I just simply super glued it on there. That's it. But yeah, it's a very healing stone, which is why I'm wearing it. Nella Nelly, question: did you hear about a woman that raised her vibration so high that Botox on her face literally ejected from her face? That's not something you want to do in public. Do I think that can happen? Literally, as I said in the beginning, absolutely everything is possible. There's nothing that isn't impossible. Nothing. The only thing that's impossible is negativity resulting in consciousness. The only thing that is impossible is somebody who's filled with anger, hatred, victim mentality. And don't get me wrong, having feelings is not the problem. So let me say this, to help. This might help Agent of the Universe. So Agent of the Universe, when the event happens, what is going to happen to everybody, including you? What is going to happen is that the negative feelings that you're carrying will be gone. It sounds totally impossible. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't experienced it. But when this light wave hits, whatever negative feelings that you have will be gone. There are going to be people who are going to have spontaneous healings. There are going to be people who are going to have healings that will come over time. There are going to be some people who will be overwhelmed by the energy, because some people aren't even consciously, prepared for the amount of love and bliss that's going to hit them. It's a higher vibrational state, which is why I've been saying you got to drop the fear, drop the victim mentality. You got to drop it. Because when this love hits, you got to have room to take it in. Otherwise, your body's going to fight it. So there are going to be people who are going to pass out. There are going to be people who might go into convulsions. According to some, there might be people who won't make it. They'll end up on a lesser Earth or something. I hope not. I don't think so. Yeah, so let me share the experience I had. I wouldn't have believed it if this hadn't happened. Now, everything that these light beings do is for a reason. They never do anything that doesn't have a reason associated with it. When you experience the things that goes on with them, you think sometimes just sort of weird, spontaneous things are happening. But for the most part, they've planned out everything to the T in order to teach you something. And you won't realize it maybe for months or years later. So this wasn't too long ago. And I had done CE5, and I wanted to reach out to the planet Mercury. And by the way, each one of the planets, every single one of the planets has, I don't know if there are beings that are from that planet or if they go there to study, I don't know what. But there are higher dimensional beings that live either in or around every single planet, because every single planet has a higher dimensional consciousness that they learn from. So Mercury is a very popular destination for beings from all over the universe. What the hell is going on here? What is this crap? My thing is telling me that they can't replay me. This is really bothering me. I'm refreshing the page. Are you telling me that you can't see me? All right, there we go. YouTube. All right, so one evening I was doing some CE5 to Mercury, to the beings of Mercury. And it takes a while. Sometimes when you reach out to them and you make contact, it takes a while for them to show up. So it might take a half an hour, it might take an hour, and you have to be patient sometimes. And so I stay in a meditative state, but I did this before I went to bed and I fell asleep. And I had this horrible dream. And I don't remember much. It was just I was being rejected by the feminine. Some woman in my life in the dream was rejecting me in a horrible way. And it made me, it was just horrible. And I woke up from that dream and I was suicidal. I hadn't felt like that in decades. But I woke up feeling like I just wanted to die. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, life is over. Everything's awful. There's no consciousness. There's no light in the world. Nothing means anything. Everything's a lie. Total victim mentality. And I got up and I went to the bathroom and I got back down and I was just crawling under the covers, just wanting to die. And as it turns out, one of the beings had shown up and was in the room and said, let me know that they were there. And I said, go away. I don't want to talk to anybody. Just leave me alone. I just want to die. Go away. And the being said, would you like me to help you? I said, no, leave me alone. Said, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want me to help? I can help. And I said, okay. And I shit you not, I never would have believed this possible, because it goes against all of the self-determination that I'm so strongly motivated by and that has completely driven my life. But this higher dimensional energy, like a wind, came into my heart and just like, and all of the blackness went away. I went literally from this close to committing suicide to just being absolutely free. And there was this energy that was expanding in my heart that was getting huger and huger and huger. And it was just like this clean, clear, beautiful breeze. And that really messed with me. Now, I was able to sleep, but for the rest of that night, there was this huge, just that same high vibrational energy was running through my whole body. It was still in my body when I woke up the next day. And it really messed with me. Because I'm like, how can somebody else take away my feelings? That's just not possible. How can that happen? But I can't deny that it happened. Now I know why, because that was my light being friend saying, this is what's going to happen when this wave hits the earth. Now, here's the bad news. The bad news is that the people who haven't done the work, who haven't, for instance, I've been forced, if I didn't do the work, I'd be dead, obviously. So I've had to work my ass off my whole life, and it has not been easy, not by any stretch of the imagination. So there's nobody on here that can tell me, you don't know what it's like. You don't know how hard it is. Well, I don't know what it's like for you, but yeah, sorry. I know what it's like to literally every single waking moment of your life just continue to focus on the positive and continue to take the action to go towards the best possible thing, even if it never comes. I'm going to die before I let this life destroy me. There have been times I've been like that. I'm not going to, I'm just not going to give up. So the people who haven't taken the action, who are filled with pain, who keep taking actions to sabotage who give themselves the out, like my friend who said about the other person, and I hope she makes it too, but if he's right, well, that person just doesn't have the ability and they don't have the power to make choices. That person is going to be free of their pain, but they will have sacrificed a lot of opportunity to be really strong. The people who have done the work, when they get to 5D, they're going to be creating mountain ranges. They're going to be gods walking around creating stuff, because in order to stay positive when you're in pain and not go into denial, that's something else. To stay positive and to continue to manifest and choose to manifest your best life, even in the worst possible time, that's practice. You're manifesting against the odds. You're going against the current, and you're still able to manifest a life. When the difficulty is taken away from you, you're going to be, and the rest of them are going to have to learn, and it'll take a lot longer. They'll be happy. It's not going to be that they're miserable. They're going to be happy. But, listen, it's not a competition, and nobody's going to be faulted for being imperfect. This isn't Christianity. But the point being is that while you know this is coming, and if you know the way to be super brilliantly happy in 5D when it hits is to focus now on getting out of the victim mentality, getting out of the resentment, the fear, the anger, and don't co-sign I would never tell anybody. I would never say to anybody, you know what? You're just too unconscious. You can't do it. I mean, I can do it. I can choose against the odds to manifest my perfect life, but you're just too unconscious. You can't do it. You know what? You should worship that Jesus guy, because he'll take your sins for you. You don't have to worry about it. He'll take it for you. I would never say that to somebody. I don't care if somebody's on, and there are people that I've worked with who have had limitations that I can't even comprehend. That are, if I had those limitations, I don't think I would have made it. I don't tell them that. But they come to me and I just tell them to do exactly what I do. And no matter how hard it is, I tell them, you take this action, go against what you believe you can do. Just do what I did. This is what I did. Do exactly what I did. And they've completely, some people have created lives that I'm in awe of. The ability that they have, I mean, it just proves to me they're such an inspiration to me. And they simply took my advice. They said, just do this. Just do this no matter how you feel. And they did it. And then there's a bunch of people in the middle that are just like all the rest of us who are okay, they have normal lives, but they have challenges and they follow my advice and they do it and their lives get better too. Anyway, so I don't want anybody to feel like they're going to be left out. And what was his name? I'm so bad with names. Agent of the Universe, I know it sounded like, because you bought into the negativity, but that's your limitation. You have a very negative mind. And the good news is you don't have to worry about your negative mind. You just have to worry about the actions that you take. And so wanting to be freed of your pain is okay. And you will be. So just know that. Keep that hope. You will be freed from your pain, but don't use that as an excuse to sit on your ass and waste your time, because you want to be God King of your universe. If you're not working to love people unconditionally, not have judgments on people, if you're not working towards focusing on the positive in your life and taking action towards what you want and finding the joy in your soul, if you're not doing that, then that's manifestation power that you're just denying yourself later on. Being a human in this life in 3D with tremendous difficulties is, the gods wish that they could have that. They look at that and go, man, I wish I was that dude. Which guy? The paraplegic guy who's homeless on the street. Why? Because if he's just able to take 1% of his manifestation into healing himself and changing his life, he's going to be like the most powerful God in the universe. I wish I was that dude. That's what they think when they look at us. The gods look at us with awe. And bear in mind, if you made it here, Agent of the Universe and others, if you made it here, you passed the test. You had to apply to be here. Not just manifest. There are plenty of other planets out there that don't have these issues. There are planets out there where there are beings that they're born into this beautiful, blissful life and they just play. Their whole existence is just playing and creating and having fun. They don't have violence or any of that other crazy garbage we have here. They don't have any of that stuff. This is the deep end of the pool. If you made it here to Earth and you were allowed to incarnate, it's because the universe said, you got potential. Go learn. So please drop the negative mentality. Please. It's just so far from the truth. And the good news is that the rest of the universe lives in bliss. We are a school of hard knocks. But it's coming to an end. The Earth 3D experiment has come to an end. Whatever information the higher dimensional beings were going to glean from all of the probability state experiments in 3D Earth, they have gotten all the information they need and they're done. And so either life on Earth will come to a ceasing halt, or we will move up to the next level. Those are the only two options. And it's up to us. And if we choose that we want to go to that higher dimensional level and we choose that it's coming today, then all of the universe will cooperate together to make it happen. If we choose not to do that, and if we choose to stay in our fear and stay in the narrative and stay miserable and stay full of resentment and stay complaining about the elites and complaining about the archons and complaining about the reptilians and the draconians and the demons and the devils, if we choose to do that, then the human race experiment will come to an end. Mother Earth herself will snuff us out of existence because this experiment is done. So it's up to you what happens. What else? Vincent.thunderwizard.com wishes me a happy birthday. Thank you. And he says, I hope you know how much you mean to me, us, your students. I'm grateful to be your student. My privilege. I am honored and inspired by your success. Thank you. Lungfish says, sounds like ayahuasca. So Lungfish, you're new to the channel. So bear in mind, we don't know what you're talking about. You're not writing a full sentence and you're not referencing anything. What sounds like ayahuasca? So we deal with questions here. So if you have a question, you can write the word question and leave a question. But even if you're going to put that, it's kind of narcissistic to think that we are in your stream of consciousness and we can jump right in. I mean, I don't know what you're responding to. What sounds that way? You want us to understand. Write a full sentence. Make your thought valuable enough so that people can understand it. Welcome to the channel. I invite you to watch the videos to see if this channel is something that will help you and appeal to you. Paradise Unlimited question, how will the solar wave affect little children and babies? They're going to love it. In fact, when it hits, it's going to be like candy to them. Adults, we have all kinds of stuff. But for little kids, when it hits the especially the littler the kids are, they're going to go and they're just going to play and they'll act like nothing happened because kids are already in that state. That's the beautiful thing about it. Kids are usually very happy unless you mess them up. So you've got kids, you've got babies, they're going to be fine. It's going to be like nothing. It's going to be like a warm bath to them. Soul Freeman said, yes, I did do the healing meditations when he got distance healing from me. So yeah. To be honest, I don't know. I mean, I did my part, and people say that, when I've done the distance healing, they say that things happen to them. And, I'm not attached one way or another. I make it very clear on that, hey, listen, I'm going to do my part. You do your part. Whatever happens is whatever happens. But I do believe strongly in teaching people to heal themselves. And if I get to be, kind of anchor to guide you through that, or if I get to be a symbol to your unconscious so that your higher self can do the healing, I don't care who's doing it. But I do believe that, it's really important to me to give people the tools to do it themselves. And that was my intention, and it sounds like it worked with you. So thank you for sharing that. Fragile Being, honest experience. All right, so I look for questions and I look for feelings. I'm going to read your honest experience anyway. 2 weeks ago, I had a past life regression that connected me to my higher self. They outed me about how lazy and impatient I am, that my ego is still running the show, and the answer to all my problems is just as simple as engaging in meditation and energy work. You know what? That's the only thing I teach here. So I'm in full agreement with you there. This has been a huge motivation for me, and I've noticed actual manifestations have come to fruition, and I hear my higher self in the background now. Behind all of the noise, my ego tries to feed me. So your ego is a defense mechanism. We use the word ego in a negative way. The true ego, ego is just Latin and Greek for I. So in Greek, to say I am, you say ego eimi, I am. Ego just means I. And having a self is a good thing. What you're talking about, what most people, when they use the word ego, you're actually talking about, Dianetics use this phrase, but it's a great one, your reactive mind. It's a great phrase, even though Dianetics ultimately isn't all that great. But your ego is your self-defense mechanism. And so your unconscious mind, if we want to call the 3D part of you, when we grow up in 3D, which is why little kids are good, because they don't have this yet. They're still connected to their soul, and they're still having fun, and they're still playing pretend, and they're still, they're fine. It's when we mature and we become, human beings that have to live in this 3D, challenging, difficult, violent, it's a challenging world to live in. And in order to survive that, we create self-defense mechanisms. Because in order to survive the narrative, you have to kill off that little child in you. And so what ends up happening is people learn how to self-direct their negativity. They sabotage themselves. They criticize themselves. They limit themselves. They say things like my friend, some people just can't do it, and we should just give them a break. They can't make choices to make their life better. That's a defense mechanism that people use to belong, so that I won't get criticized. Because if you stand out in this world, if you stand out and you live true to your soul, people will come after you because you threaten them. It's threatening to their mundane, I'm just part of the, the world, you will own nothing and you'll like it. World Economic Forum world. All the stuff I can't talk about on YouTube. All of the narrative that you're supposed to believe and be a part of, and do all the crazy things that they tell you so that they'll let you work and have a job and, leave your house without a mask or whatever. All that stuff, in order to survive and be part of the herd, you have to hate yourself. And that's what you mean by the ego. But it works. It actually allows you to survive. And so you become used to beating yourself up. Don't do that. Don't stand out. Don't make a fuss. Nobody will love you. Nobody will accept you. That's your ego. So when you start truly living your truth, which is love, creativity, beauty, spirituality, when you start living that, your unconscious self-protection will kick in and start hammering you. And it does it when you judge other people. Like if you look at other people and you call the queen an evil, horrible demon, that's a projection. That's you. You're beating yourself up. Everything you say negative about other people is what you're saying about you. I have an interesting experience to share with you. I want you to ask, you don't have to write it. I just want to let you ask yourself, what do you think would happen if you met yourself? Do you think that you would fall madly in love with yourself and want to marry yourself? I was doing my work and my higher dimensional friends showed up. And one being showed up and said, "This is your lucky day, Sparky." And he said, "I'm your actual higher self. I'm you. And I'm here to give you an upgrade." And my first response was hostile. It wasn't like, oh my God, that's me. Let's sit down and talk. No, it was like, that motherfucker. I felt hostile towards him. He was full of himself. He was dismissive. He was so confident. The motherfucker was just so confident. And he was just, he had like the shit-eating grin on his face. You know, he was just, and I tried to overcome that. I became aware of how hostile I was feeling towards myself. And I tried to go, thank you, it's an honor to meet you, sir. And he said, yeah, whatever. I got work to do. And he went in there and he adjusted some stuff in me and then he left. So you think if you meet yourself, you're going to like yourself. You probably won't. You'll probably, here's what I learned from that. My judgments of myself were, I was full of myself. I was dismissive. I was cocky. That is a judgment. What that really means, now that I look back in hindsight, is that he was really confident. And he enjoyed his own experience of himself. And he didn't need me to kiss his ass, and he didn't need to kiss my ass. He came to do some work. He said, I'm going to give you something. And he said, I know you better than you know yourself because I'm you. And so what I learned was that judgment that I had on him is the judgment I have on myself. I judge myself for being confident. I judge myself for being truthful. I judge myself for giving people what they need instead of what they want. Because I still have a part of me that wants to be approved of. And that's the part of me that tells me, don't speak out, don't put yourself out there. That's your ego. Your ego is your unconscious resistance to your higher perfection. What else? Okay, I don't see any more questions, which is what I like. So Lungfish, welcome to the channel. I did share what your experience, but what I prefer is questions and feelings. So anyway, just for future reference. And I don't need responses. I appreciate people's, but we don't need to do that. See, I just did what he did. He's like, yeah, whatever. Let's just get to the root of it. Let's fix that problem and move on. I'm only interested in giving you what you need, and that's it. We don't need to do the back and forth. I say this, you say that, and we don't need to do that. What else? Anything else? I don't see anything else going on here. No other questions. We've been on here a while. So the 21st and the 22nd, let's do this. You guys with me? I will announce when we're going to do it. As I say that, I can feel my higher dimensional friends. So this might be it. This might be it. And if it can be done because we choose to do it, then let's do it. Let's stop sitting around waiting for this thing to happen. When it comes, and then we'll be in 5D. Until then, we just got to hang on. Screw that. I'm done. Let's do this thing already. In the meantime, if you want to get a tune-up, if you want to get an energetic tune-up to get yourself ready, because I've been doing this non-stop. I mean, the higher dimensional beings have been working on me non-stop for 3 months. And I can only imagine that's, because they've got, I need it, and they've got some job for me to do. I mean, I haven't even begun to tell you all the stuff they've told me I'm going to do. If I told you, you'd lock me up. But I can only assume that they're working on me this hard because I got a job to do coming up soon. And I need to be prepared. I might not have been ready for it. but hopefully I am now. But if you want to get that, go Google CE5 protocol. You don't have to do it with a group. You can do it alone, and you can go and look for the light show outside if you want, but that's really just to get your attention. What they really want to do is they want to meditate with you. So if you do the CE5 protocol and stay in meditation, watch what happens. You will know. These beings will show up and you will feel them. And they will reach across the dimensional barrier into your heart, your mind, and your soul. And you will never be the same. And you will never be able to close that door again. And you will transform. The people that I've seen, that I know that have been doing it, the transformation has been unbelievable. So it's scary for some. Some people it's not scary. For me, it was incredibly frightening. But that was just my, they had to crack my shell. I had, as you guys know, I had a very specific understanding of reality, and I was married to that. And they had to crack that. They had to destroy that. And now I believe anything, except angry, mean people, having a lot of spiritual power. That's the only thing that can't happen. Other than that, there's literally nothing that is impossible. All right, I'm done. Thanks for wishing me a happy birthday. And maybe I'll come on and see you guys tomorrow. I don't know. It depends on how I feel. In any case, I wish you guys all the best. Thank you for showing up. I love you with everything in my heart. I want nothing more than to see every single one of you happy, healthy, empowered. And I want you to realize, every single person listening to me, you are so unbelievably powerful and amazing. If you could tap into 1% of the amazing, beautiful power that is within you, you would never have a negative thought about yourself ever again. And I hope that every single one of you can feel that and to tap into that. Please do the meditations on this channel, whether it's the 90-day challenge or the free stuff. Go on to the channel page and look into the playlists and go to the Qigong and the meditations and the Maoshan. There's plenty of free stuff, the HUUL breath, the Huar breath, the everything. Just do something, please. And that will help you achieve that. If I've done or said anything that has hurt anybody's feelings or pushed your buttons, I know what it's like to be on the other side of me now. So I know that it can be challenging, but just know that my intention is only to help, and I love you so much I'm willing to tell you what you don't want to hear. I don't need you to love me. I'm only interested in giving you whatever it is you need to help you evolve and be happy. Thank you, Bone Man. You just paid my utilities for the month. Thank you. You throw down $100. I appreciate that. It's very well appreciated. Thank you so much. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys all very soon. Take care.